we're back.
We're back. God dang it.
We're back
Whose NASCAR truck was that? How did I miss that on the? Was that on the fan page?
Yeah, it was on the fan page. He's posted it a handful of times. Hopefully you can hear me better. The furnace just shut off. I'm gonna have to look it back up because I forgot his name.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, it's a very cool truck that he's posted a bunch of times, so I should have remembered his name, but I forgot it.
He who should not be named.
Yeah, I did have to scroll. I did have to scroll a little while. Doug Hester is the Dale truck on the thumbnail. I stole his picture from the fan page, so hopefully he doesn't get upset about that.
Shameless.
Yeah. Because Wesley didn't text me back for thumbnail suggestions.
No, it's one of those days to where someone spends a bunch of money on their FJ40 and they bring it in thinking they just have a squeaky belt and maybe a carburetor that's not tuned, and then you inform them that their intake manifold's cracked, the exhaust is cracked, causing another vacuum leak. It was so bad actually. If you hold your hand on top of the carb, the idle, that's how you check if there's a vacuum leak. The idle would smooth out, but your hand. So generally, when you spray gas on your hand, it's cold because it's evaporating.
Mm-hmm.
I was holding my hand on the carb, and my hand was getting hot. I was like, anyway. So this guy just bought this, I think, and we're probably talking like 10 grand of parts and labor. So that's like one of those weird conversations.
Yeah, that's a good conversation to have. I know you just bought this, sir, but
basically totaled.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, so trying to work that out, how to word this to the customer, if you will. So yeah,
That's
a little distracted.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody in the chat? Thanks for checking in on us tonight.
Yeah.
I got keys to the new shop today.
Oh, you already got the machine moved in, I see?
Yeah. No. So because the timelines of everything just were not working out in my favor, I worked out a way to do a short-term lease before closing on this piece of property so that I can get in there and do some lighting and some painting and get electricians in there so I can get real quotes on that stuff, not just I think it's going to be a whatever. So I have access to the buildings now and the entirety of the property really. So that's something, but also the power gate quit working, so that's super cool.
Hey, if you're leasing it, they have to fix it now.
So somebody's supposed to come out. Somebody's supposed to come out on like Wednesday.
Like, you son of a gun! I see what you did.
Yeah. So somebody's supposed to come out on Wednesday and look at that. It functioned totally fine until supposedly it functioned fine until Friday. So it didn't feel like working on Monday morning after the time change, just like I didn't. So.
Oh, that gate had the old flight Y2K kind of bug, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
Half the time's like, what's Y2K? What stuff?
Yeah. Otherwise, I had the most interruptions that I've ever had in a day today.
Was it from me?
Because it's it was 65 here today, which meant that everyone decided they needed to have their motorcycles out today. which also meant that most of their motorcycles wouldn't start because they haven't touched them since September. Which means that my phone rang off the hook all day today. So I didn't get virtually anything done. On top of that, and dealing with, realtors and whatever. So
Do the motorcyclists, are they so with like the old Land Cruisers? I've been telling everyone, get ethanol free if you're not going to drive this. Do people drain the tanks on those bikes at all, or they just put them away?
No, it's mostly the carbureted bikes that are the issue. They sit over the winter, they get gummed up, and batteries are always dead in the spring because they sit out in their unheated barns or sheds or whatever, and they don't put a tender on them or anything. And then, so the phone calls I got today were batteries, carb cleans, and tires, because they don't want to spend the money at the end of the season to put a tire on. I'll do it in the spring. I want to ride it today. Well, you should have put a tire on it in freaking September, you dum-dum. So, yeah, they all want priority, and they all want it done right now. They all, you got this in stock, you got that in stock? No, I don't.
No, big dog.
A guy upset that I didn't have an engine rebuild kit for a 97 KX 125 in stock. I'm looking for something today. I'm looking for something today. I'm like, you're not going to find anything today. You might find a spark plug, but nothing else.
What's the, was it Fraser's? Is that the Cowie shop? Is that still around?
No, they closed about a year ago now. It was July, so 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Still though, sucks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this thing back up and going. If anybody is curious, yeah. That's what that's what this dude is for. I don't know if it'll.
Yeah. What do you do to prep your bike if it is sat for an extended period of time? Like if it's going to sit for a couple of months, like over the winter, definitely recommend some fuel stabilizer. Depending on what the bike is. If it's carbureted, shut the fuel off at the bottom of the tank and drain the carburetors. Drain all the fuel out of the carbs. Put stabilizer in the fuel and do some sort of battery maintainer, trickle charger, battery tender, something to keep the battery up. But otherwise, it's pretty standard. If it's a fuel-injected bike, stabilizer in the fuel and either keep the battery on a tender in the bike or take the battery in the house. Just, a lot of people, I go out and start it once a week or every other week. I think that's probably harder on it than leaving it sit not running because of moisture. When you start the bike, most of the engines are aluminum. So when you first start the bike, the aluminum will sweat and it draws a bunch of moisture into the oil. And you don't run it long enough for the oil to get hot to bake the moisture out of the oil. Then you get milky, nasty oil, and then that's worse than letting it sit anyway. So,
but what I've been telling people is the ethanol and all the gas now that absorbs water like brake fluid does. So when these trucks sit for months, that fuel turns green, just like your brake fluid.
Yeah.
And then that usually that and the ethanol, it all turns to a slime. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's good for me if you're paying me to fix that. But
exactly.
I try to, you can spend $1 extra per gallon for gas if you get like the Marine ethanol free, or you can pay me $300-$400 to rebuild your carb every year.
Yeah, so I don't really even do carb cleans anymore here, or rebuilds anymore because, most of these bikes take, depending on the bike, it could take 15 minutes to get the carburetor off, or it could take an hour and a half to get a bank of carburetors off. Then you've got a couple hours in cleaning it, a couple hours of, an hour to 2 hours of putting them back on and sinking them if it's a bank of carburetors. And you end up with a $300 or $400 bill, and people are like, well, all you did was clean the carb. Well, do it your damn self then. So
Dude, it sucks.
I don't even like dealing with that type of work anymore because the total bill always ends up higher than the customer thinks it's worth. So if that's the case, then I'm just not going to do it. I really don't even do a whole lot of tire changes anymore either because
Brett works on bikes to where the tires cost more than the bike.
I really no, but like seriously. So like these guys, you can buy a tire, the same exact tire that I can order from my supplier. You can order it on Amazon and have it the next day for cheaper than my cost, right? So I don't have there's no margin in the tire because you're going to bring your own popcorn to the movies. And it takes an hour to do a tire change on these big cruisers and people don't want to pay $100 to have a tire mounted. They think it's worth 20 to 35 bucks and I'm just not going to do it for that. I'm not going to run I'm not going to run my $10,000 tire changer and my $4,000 balancer for 20 bucks. I'm just not going to do
it. Blasphemy.
Yeah, it's just not my thing anymore, man. I'd much rather stand in front of these machines and push buttons on them and not have to answer the phone. Any secret stash of the bomb wheels by any chance or mammoths? No, I don't have any. I've got mine. Mine are right here. No, it's on the long list of things to do. Also, so one thing I did learn this evening when I was leaving the new shop is that a couple doors down is a injection molding shop, like a little mom and pop injection molding shop. So I might have to go introduce myself.
From the new shop, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I might have to.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Well, there's some stuff I can already think of that would be pretty nice.
Yeah. Checkered, can I send you my 70s Husky 125 for a rebuild? Need it back in 2 weeks. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can get it done in. What? I can get it done in 2 weeks. I'm just not going to tell you what 2 weeks.
Do you have that kit in stock?
Yeah, I've got it in stock.
May not be the deal breaker.
Yeah, it's all available. Creating acid as a result of combustion and oil mixing. It will etch material away from cylinder walls, pit steel parts, etc. Yeah, it can. So like that's what I said, running the bike for a couple of minutes in your garage when it's 0 degrees outside, it's hurting it worse than just letting it sit. When I had my Supermoto, I would take my wheels off myself and drop them off for tires. That's the easiest way to do it. I mean, as long as you're capable and willing to do that. But even still, when you price a tire change, you're almost pricing the labor as a loss leader, planning on making 30% margin on the tire. But when the customer can buy the tire for cheaper than your cost on Amazon, there's really no, then you have to make up that difference in the labor price.
I'm convinced this is why this foresight that you have or understanding is why Advanced Auto went belly up, because they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
That's just being cheap. It has to cost $100+ for a tire change. It's just not worth to mess around with a bike. If you've ever had a flat at 70 miles an hour, you know what I'm talking about. So that's one thing too. But like also, there's a lot of liability in it. If something happens and that tire
tires, dude.
Well, that is another thing too. Customer supplied tires, you can't guarantee it. But also, like, if you get a flat front tire on a motorcycle, the chances of you crashing is pretty good. And if you have your old lady on the back, your chances of crashing are exponentially higher when you get a flat tire. So, same thing with doing oil changes on bikes too. If you leave the drain plug loose or the oil filter loose, that oil goes straight on the rear tire. Period. Like, there's nowhere else for it to go but the rear tire.
Or it goes where the bike ride's behind you.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Hey, also, can you hear Bear deciding to gnaw on a bone right now? Is that disruptive? Can anybody hear that?
I can hear it, but it's not that bad.
Okay. He's like right in front of me, and he's like, "This is the time." I've never even seen him chew on that dang bone, dude. Turd.
Checker says, Wes, how do I get these wedge things to work on my SSD AR-44 leaf mounts? Getting this angle is killing me.
Wedge things.
Yeah, what
Is it
wedge
those?
things?
Is he talking about caster or pinion angle wedges? See, that's the thing with the leaf spring stuff, because leaf springs are like ancient dinosaur technology. Everyone calls everything something different. So
I assume he's talking about like pinion angle shims, but I don't know. We don't.
I've never. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Pinion angle shims. Hand me my spanner. Adjustable wrench. Um,
I've never had to mess with them. Say what?
Those checkered, are those from Twisted Fabco or what? Or where'd you get those?
Yeah, I've never tried to mount leafs on 44s, so not real sure.
Actually, I was digging through some of my stuff. I have some of those brass AR-44 mounts.
I was digging through parts bins over there, and I have like 10 of the AR-44 Portal G-Speed Panhard mount braces.
That's a tongue twister, dude.
Yeah, it's just a little aluminum bracket that goes on the backside of an AR-44 AR-45 Portal, whatever it is, to brace the little loop for the Panhard mount. I bought them from Gabe when I went to California, and I intended to put them on the site, and I don't think I ever did, because they're not on the site currently, and I have 10 of them. So I assume that I just set them in a bin and completely forgot about them. So I should probably do something about that.
They're probably sought after now, like anything else that's over 5 years old.
Yeah, maybe.
Tectonic. I gotta check the date, but I usually go to that every year. Texas Crawfest.
Yeah. Checker says I have the leaf mounts, but the pinion angle is almost flat. These are the beef tubes versions. I mean, if the pinion angle's flat, that's fine, but
if he's doing the sever leaf, there might need to be. You might need that pinion pitched up if you're running leaf over in a straight axle.
Yeah. Half Hawaiian. Did I miss a release of the bombs? No, you didn't. No.
Did one person post that on the fan page, and now it's like someone thought that was a teaser?
I don't know. I didn't even see it if somebody did. So I was talking with the machine movers. Did I say that last week? I was waiting on them to give me quotes last week. That's what it was. I got the quote. Yeah, I got the quote to move this machine.
And
it's to just move the machine. Doesn't include disconnecting it, reconnecting it, leveling it, nothing. So it's bring a forklift and a semi, put it on a trailer, take it less than a mile, and put it in the new building where I want it is $3,000 for this one. I have 3 other machines also that need to be moved. And I have to buy a transformer because the voltage over there is 480 and I need 240. So I have to buy a transformer to step the voltage down to 240 3-phase.
I was saying it's the opposite of what you have.
It's the opposite of now I have too much power. So I need to buy a transformer. So there's another couple grand there. I quickly added up about between the transformer, the electricians, and the riggers, I added up about 15 grand just to move these things. So that's super sweet.
And it's tax time.
And it's tax time. I've actually crawled with Wes at Balcones Park one time. Didn't realize who he was till a month later.
So yeah, if anybody has not met me, I'm told I'm just ultra humble. I mean, I'm just there to hang out, dude.
Yeah.
I
I'm not. We're not anybody. We're not anybody special. We're just just guys.
That's what it was. So when I first moved to Austin, it was actually those trail runs were like some of the most fun trail runs I've ever had. Because I just showed up and was like, boom, and then people are like, "What frame is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's
what the hell is that?"
It's my frame. then like people started finding out. But I mean, people aren't like intrusive or anything. People are still respectable. But it was just like super. It's sometimes it's like just really nice to just be like a normal person.
Yep.
So yeah, if you ever meet me out in the wild, I'm just there to hang out, dude. Although if you're having, if you got questions, let me know. But
yeah. I want to pre-order the Sever Carbon chassis kit. What do I want for a Class 2 truck? S1, 2, or 3? Well, you don't want an S3 because that's for Class 3. You could use the S1 or the S2. The only difference between the S1 and S2 is on the S1, the skid plate is parallel to the ground, and on an S2, it is a 10-degree angle. 10 degree. It's 10 degree, right? I think it's 10 degrees.
Yes.
10 or 11. Whatever it is. It's close to 10. So either an S1 or an S2, which I should have the DSMs within the next couple days also. So those should all be shipping hopefully by the end of this week if all things go well.
Oh, also, I don't know if people will comment I don't know if anybody that I threw up like a little hoarder post on fan page.
Yeah.
I was not anticipating so many private messages. So thanks everyone who wanted something. And I tried to get back to everybody. But that stuff was gone quickly.
Nice. Brett and Wes are incognito, unlike Harley, who probably travels with an entourage and heavy security. Josh tries to fly under the radar, but it just doesn't work for him anymore. And Rob, thank you. You did not need to do that, but thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, Josh tries his best to like get in and get out, but it doesn't work very well anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they have a much more. They have the public persona that we don't really advertise. It's more like This is almost like a live helpline /
Yeah.
That's all this hour is.
And car accidents in front of my shop.
Oh yeah.
Which there was one early. There was one earlier today, so there probably won't be one tonight. But
I don't know.
If I really wanted to go incognito, I could just shave my beard. No one would recognize me at all at an event.
That is true. You'd probably get me for like a couple minutes. I'd be like,
wait a second. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of people in the RC world that have seen me without a beard. You're one of them, but there's not a whole lot left that have seen me without a beard. Oh, talking about S123, Sorka released the latest rules update today.
Ooh.
I think the only thing they really clarified was a little bit of tire stuff. But Dan did post a video on his YouTube page, Trailbreaker RC. And in that video, he did go over who the Sorka board members are and said, I think that's probably the first time that I've known of that they've actually posted who was on the board. So
it's always been kind of a mystery.
Yeah. Our former team driver Zach Cantrell is on the board now. So I don't know if that means anything, but and then the other notable was Jimmy Jordan. He's on there, and I believe Scott Manis, maybe. I think Scott Manis is on there, and Nabil, and then a handful of other people. What's Sorka? People still go by that ancient rule set? No, but I'm just saying. They released new rules today if you care.
I got like, I mean, I don't know. I'm so torn nowadays with my opinion on that because
Yeah.
I think the issues they've had has affected us as vendors directly, and I know we're not the only ones.
Nope.
That I think scale comp has declined in. I mean, it's still going. Like, there's fully dedicated. There will always be dedicated comp crawlers, but I think
Yeah.
it has affected the community in a negative way, to where like you might see a decline in just general interest, especially
Yep.
when there's like cool, interesting stuff being released. Per se, like the Losi Moto, like that's cool. That's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think we're starting to see it in the releases from like Axial with that Helamon. Like that's not really scaled right. Like that's a weird scale for like a 10 scale comp. Like that's not really.
It's 8
It's not.
scale.
Yeah, and so now we're getting these like weird scalings from the manufacturers because there's no like interest. Like 10 scale will like might. I mean, what would we do if 10 scale like actually faded away?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, technically, per scale, this is an 8 scale body.
Yeah.
Technically, if anybody has had one, that's why this is. I don't really count this truck. This is a trail truck, but it's 8 scale. It's a big chungus.
Yeah, that body's pretty big. You can't get rid of the beard. I'm part of the beard club. Not nearly as prominent as yours, but nonetheless. No, I will not be getting rid of the beard. I was just saying if I really wanted to be incognito,
Hey,
I'd
if
probably end up divorced because my wife would
he'll
probably kill me, but
he'll shave it if the chat donates 15 grand for moving.
no, don't even try
Say no. Look
it.
at who's thinking.
No, not going to happen. Will the board sort out the nonsense coming out of Sorka, or is Sorka on the way under? The board there's always been a Sorka board, but there was it. No, I don't know how many it got down to, but I think it was down to only a couple people. So that they've added a bunch of people now, and they've added people who have been in the comp scene for a very long time, like Nabil, Scott Manis, Jimmy. They've been in the comp scene for a very long time. Hopefully, those guys can kind of do some guiding. I don't think you're going to see any major changes to what the rule set is for a while. My thing is like I don't have a problem with the rules. I don't have a problem playing by the rules. I don't have a problem with the rules at all. However, I have a problem with the fact that if we release a new chassis tomorrow that they don't like, they make a new rule banning it overnight, and we never get to sell a product, right? Because they just decided they don't like it.
Yeah, that's where the live rules is my biggest thing. Because like, for example, I've never really added up this like the Sever R&D, but that was over 10 months back and forth sending frames. Some of the team drivers paid for the prototype frames, some didn't. Depends on like how quickly I needed to get them to change something. But with time, not even including time, just pure money, I might be like 2 grand just into R&D out of my own pocket. So, and that's honestly probably a drop in the bucket for Some people like, all right, for example, if you do outsource to China, you're not doing 12 wheels, you're doing 400, 600 wheels. So you're
Mhm.
up front, out of pocket, or it's tires. Just say tires. That's a better example. Um,
Yeah.
how much money are you spending right up front, out of pocket, in tires, and then as soon as you release it, 24 hours later, it's illegal?
Yeah.
Dude,
And,
I would
you know,
actually, I'd probably just quit. Like, if you want me to quit doing this, that's probably the best way.
yeah, the thing about it is, though, is like, just because Sorka banned a lot of the J Concepts tire line,
That was their main.
um,
No, I was kidding.
right? Well, but just because
That's the
they,
only one I can think of. Yeah.
yeah, just because they banned a lot of the J Concepts tire line doesn't mean that you can't find or buy the J Concepts tires. However, when the Sorka board immediately makes a rule and says, "Hey, you can't run these tires in Sorka comps," and then it starts this giant 500 comment shitstorm. How many people actually bought those tires? Not even people that don't comp. How
My
many
own
people
actually
were
bought tires.
how many people were turned off from buying them on the off
Oh,
chance that they might want to go to a comp,
oh, 100%.
and not even that maybe their local comps don't even run Sorka rules, but when Sorka makes such a stink about it, maybe that person didn't buy those tires just because of the stink that got made about it.
Yeah,
Other people will buy them just out of spite, but
I would
you know,
probably ban it.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
Uh, Tim Samuels is not on the board that I'm aware of.
but that is exactly like the point I was making with that was like, now you have
Yeah,
this negative. I mean, this person is like, this doesn't pay bills. Like, this is like passion. This is fun to me. Um,
yeah.
I didn't go to school for engineering or anything, so unless some company's going to take a chance on me, this is the closest to a job with engineering as I'm going to
I
get.
bet. I bet
So,
you. Bet if you made a couple phone calls to Axial, you could probably move to California and work there. But it seems like the mass exodus says that's not the place to work.
yeah, Cali's a beautiful state. I kind of hated on it until I drove through and like visited, but it's very cool. So it's
I wasn't.
I
I
hope they
wasn't saying.
fix good shit sometime.
I wasn't saying that California, the mass exodus
So
of
you just mean
California. I mean
actually.
of Axial. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the SCX10 Pro body, where the intended body wasn't legal by the time of release. Yes, exactly that. You know, uh, Wyatt was running that body at Nationals the year before, and they didn't like it, so they banned it. Like,
It's wild. No, the live rules that needs to stop. I think that might be the worst part of Sorka, actually.
my not that my opinion matters a whole lot, but I'm going to give it anyway because this is our damn show. But if they just went back to 2019 Sorka rules, it'd be great. Like
Dan
that's
Davidson is salivating at the mouth, having
yeah. I think it
having
went
the
all it all went
sentence.
off the rails like 2020, 2021. It went.
I'll give him that. I give it that. Yeah, yeah. There needs to be different rule sets, or there needs to be just a different way to go about it.
Yeah,
I
but
think if there's a
realistically,
rule and we find a little niche in the armor or a gray area to exploit, I'd be like, you know what? Hats off. Enjoy it for this year. Like,
yeah,
give it
yeah.
there.
Realistically though, if there's no nationals, why is there a national rule set, right?
Yeah.
Because Super Shafty could make their own rules. Crawlapalooza makes their own rules. ECC could make their own rules. Like, if there's no nationals, there doesn't need to be a national rules. Just my opinion.
That's true.
It's no fun if you're not winning. Well, yeah. I mean,
I bet
a lot of it, like if the guys who win aren't even like they might be pushing a couple of rules, but like they're not the guys that are trying to blatantly break the rules or blatantly bend the rules. Like, they're the guys that spend more time driving the trucks than they do trying to figure out ways around the rules. They'll drive their trucks until they know exactly what it'll do, and then they'll start in the gray area after that. Like, but you can't think that just because you understand the rules and understand gray area that you can build this cheater truck and just go out and win, because it's not going to happen. I mean, Wyatt basically won. He was on the podium with a stock SCX10 Pro, so, which is surprising because the Pro was decent, but it wasn't that great.
Whoa. One person might disagree, but I don't know if they're even watching.
They're not watching. There's only 27 people watching, and I guarantee you that one person ain't watching. Nabil could drive in his sleep and one arm behind his back. Yeah, dude's really good at picking lines and seeing.
Dude, yeah, I think Nabil could drive a Red Cat in circles around most people here.
Yeah, but I bet you he's also got 10,000 hours of trigger time. You're telling me adding foam disc brakes isn't going to help me win? No, probably not. No, probably not. So then you find the thinnest aluminum, which I don't have any of them laying here on the table. Oh, I do. Then you find some really thin aluminum and make your own. They don't weigh anything at all.
Those are like scaled mountain bike rotors.
Yeah. I dimpled them on both sides.
Dang, you put actual time. I'd be like, all right, give that man points. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They don't add any weight, but they add points. So, and they're thin enough that if you need to adjust your wheel spacing a little bit, you can stack them.
Ooh, you get extra points. Like, dude, I got 4 discs per corner.
Yeah. Can I put all 4 discs on one wheel so I can clear the tie rod end? Can I get points for all 4 rotors now? I'm liking the WeRock rules. Fairly simple to build to. Tough part is hiding all the wires and the little amount of space available. Yes, however, just like I said 6 months ago, the new WeRock rules went from 4 pages to 25 pages or something like that, because they added a whole mess of classes and a whole bunch of clarifications and stuff. So, like, I knew that as basic as their rules were, they weren't going to be able to stay basic because of people like me. That, we build what we want to build, and then we make it fit the rules after that. And if that means craft foam interiors, that's what it means, and they don't like that. So I knew they were going to have to clarify some stuff, but I just hope that it doesn't turn into Sorka 2.0. I hope that they can keep it as simple as possible. Their motto is, if it's not in the rules, you can't do it. Where, like, I always read the rules where if it doesn't say I can't, it means I can. Two-wheel drive buggy stock racers running shaved trans gears and plastic pinions to reduce rotating mass. Knew a guy who had over $150 in just transmission gear upgrades on a buggy that's 300-ish new in box. So before the local drag strip here closed, the drag race guys would come in and buy O-ring chains for their bikes, and then they would sit there and cut all the O-rings out of it, and then they would boil the chains and get all the grease out of them, either bake them in the oven or boil all the grease out of them, and just either graphite powder them or boil them in linseed oil. So the chain was as sloppy and loose as possible to reduce the drag on the chain, and then they would only get like 10 to 15 passes out of a chain before it was smoked, just because of how much extra clearance it had in it from cutting all the O-rings and shit out of it. Anything to gain a tenth, right? Same concept with the transmission gears. Is that still the modded high-low that I did for you?
It is, yeah. Yep. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
And this was kind of specifically made for this body, so.
Yeah. That'll be like the Blue 4Runner, it just lives.
Yeah, although I would sell this one before I sold the 4Runner. Even though the 4Runner, it still performs okay, but like it's. Once we got into this realm of frames, the 4Runner quickly outpaced.
Yeah.
Started like climbing, and that one's still fun because I'm trying to keep the 3300 in it, so it's got some low power.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah. Are you ready for Crawlfest?
I'm working on it. Is that dude, I've not actually looked at the date. Is that sneaking up on me? I feel like it is.
I don't know.
I saw somebody was out there working on a mini trail. I think 24 scale trail. That'd be kind of cool. Not that I have anything for that.
I'll ship you this.
Yeah. A thing. I'm pretty sure down here, I think a hawk would carry that thing away.
Yeah. I need to find a suitable ESC and receiver for this. The stock one here shit the bed. And I could just go to the hobby shop and get one because they have them in stock. But like I've done enough to this that it's like I should probably put an ESC and receiver in it. But also like I don't really care. So like don't really want to spend a bunch of money on it.
Yeah.
When like it has the stock trans in it and the stock motor in it. So there's not room enough for a brushless system. Like that sucker is in there. Like the motor is touching the frame. So there's really no good place for a brushless motor, and I can't really get a wider transmission in there. So kind of stuck with either going full retard on it or just buying another stock ESC receiver combo and putting in it. I'm not sure which way it's going to go, but I think probably the stock receiver and ESC would at least be able to make it drivable. But I think it looks good. I like the way it looks. I like the way it turned out.
It does look pretty good.
This has been like
get into them. I don't know.
It's been like a 2-year project, and I just can't bring myself to finish it because I just don't care that much about 24 scale.
Here's what the issue I have with it. The only one I want to buy is that Lexus one, and it's hard body, so you don't do anything to it because it's never going to perform like that would. So I'm just buying a toy, which I don't really.
You're likely never going to drive.
I just don't buy stuff that is a toy. I buy stuff if it's a tool or for like a future investment on like. I expect a return on most stuff I buy. Can I make a product for it? Maybe I'll just make a bunch of scale stuff, you bolt onto it, make it even worse. But I feel like someone's probably already done that already.
I'm sure they have.
I'm not the only one that's thought about this.
No.
But yeah.
Not at all. You could make a pretty close replica to your 1-to-1, but other than that, like.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. That's a 470. I have the 460. This is my pinky out. Yeah.
You can't put your pinky out anymore. You scratched the skid plate, so you can't do that.
Yeah, dude, my skid plates are like mangled raisins. It's hilarious because the top side of the truck, mint. Underside looks like a '95 Toyota pickup that's been in what was that? What's the woods in is it Washington? What is
Yeah.
that place called? I'm forgetting right now. Anyway, yeah. It's pretty mangled underneath. There's big scratch. Actually, the thing I need to watch out for actually is my plastic gas tank. There's a couple gouges in that that's kind of concerning. What are you all hyped up for? Come here.
Yeah. So I texted the group earlier. There was the accident. I'm gonna cause an accident because I'm talking about crashes out front.
We're gonna
So there
hear
was a
sirens momentarily.
yeah. There was a crash out there on Friday, and then there was another one today. And then when I was on my way home, there was fire trucks coming up behind me, so I pulled over, let the fire trucks go by, and then they turned into my neighborhood, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like they turned like on my street, and I'm like, "Uh oh, that's not good." And it wasn't my house, thankfully, but my neighbors lost their house today.
Oh,
It's gone. It's pretty bad. So it was the whole back half of the house was on fire, flames coming up out of the roof. The roof caved in. Like it was on fire by the time the fire department got there.
they'd say what the cause was.
He said he started a fire in the fireplace, and then so my mom and my stepdad live across the street from there. And my stepdad was like, "Man, like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes ago, he's like, I smelled something that smelled like it was hot." He goes, "So I started checking stuff around the house and I didn't see, everything was fine at the house." So he's like, "I didn't even really think anything about it." And then like an hour later, he's like, I could still smell it like an hour later. And he goes, "I opened the front door and seen smoke coming out of their house." So he ran over there. Everybody was out of the house except the dad, the adult male that lives there. He was going back in trying to gather things that he could gather, but it was already gone by that point. So, but everybody got out. Everybody's fine, but the house is not fine. The fire department was there. They're still there now, probably, but I had been home for over an hour and there was still flames coming out the roof. And the fire department had been there the entire time that I was there. So
Damn.
it was on fire in the attic and in the eaves and all that stuff. So that was a pretty wild one. They've got 3 kids, a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader. So
Dude, that
I don't know where they're
like,
going tonight, but
those are like impressionable years too.
yeah, those are the years where they have all their, they've got all their own stuff. You know what I mean? They don't want to,
Yeah.
video games and stuffed animals and clothes and So I don't know how much. I don't know how much stuff he was able to get out of the house, but it probably wasn't enough to make it worth being back in the house with as in flames as it was. So
Right.
yeah,
Josh is here.
the bat signal. We talked about Leaf Springs earlier. No, we started talking about 24 scales, so Josh showed up.
Yeah, he's like, "What? You want to put $2,000 into 24 scale?
I'm down.
I'll send you a couple links."
He's got a whole browser tab with SCX 24 parts.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah. Luckily, they all were home at the time. So unfortunately, they were all home. The elementary school kids here get off the bus at 2:25 in my neighborhood. So this was at 4:45. So they were all home. But like I said, everybody got out. Everybody's safe. Everybody's fine. But the fire department was still there when I left the house at 7:30 to come back here. So from 4:45 to 7:30, the fire department has been there spraying water. So
Is it that cold there?
no, I don't know why he would have even started a fire. It was 65 degrees today. So like
Inside job.
I don't know. Like
It's
I don't know if he was
primarily where fireplaces are.
burning cardboard or so. I don't know. I mean, like I
Ooh,
said, it
it's
was
tax time.
yeah,
Sorry,
65
this is my humor
65
that I do
degrees.
with it.
Yeah,
This sucks, man.
65 degrees outside. So I don't really know why he would have been starting a fire today, but
I think about that
that's
stuff though, dude. Like I keep my batteries in an ammo box. I keep when I leave to go to work, I make sure Bear has his collar on in case something happens and he gets out. My info's there. I
yeah,
just think about that stuff, dude, because that's like the. I mean, that's devastating.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, Rob. I will get that shipped as soon as the DSMs get here. I'm waiting on DSMs currently. So next door neighbor's house caught fire. Wife woke the dogs barking and fire coming out a window next to my bedroom window. Whole house is practically gone. So the house directly across the street from this one, which is right next door to my mom and dad, my mom and stepdad. Similar thing. Woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning. The neighbor's house was engulfed in flames right next to my bedroom window. So saw that. That was pretty wild. So the two houses directly across the street from each other have both been torched in my 38 years of life, and I've seen two of them now. It's like, how many more of these are going to go up in our neighborhood? Is this like a time? Is like a time limit thing? Are they all timing out of fire resistance? They were all built about the same time, and they were all wired by the same companies. So like, that makes you wonder. Um, we lost our house right after I graduated high school. It's a wild thing to live through. Yeah, I mean, the whole neighborhood smells like house fire right now. Like obviously, all the neighbors are outside watching this go down, right? And like I go back in the house, I'm like, man, like just being outside, but your clothes smell like house fire. They smell like campfire from just being outside. Pretty wild.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Being in a house, like you kind of control your own destiny to a certain extent, but in an apartment, if you guys, if
Yeah.
your neighbor is not as responsible as you and leaves a space heater plugged in or something,
Well, even worse, the unit behind, or like that I share like a wall with behind me. That was the one I toured when I looked at these apartments. That one has a gas fireplace like in the living room wall. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
But
gas fireplace and wood burning fireplaces are two totally different animals as far as fire goes.
random people having a fire in an apartment building, I'm not really a fan of personally. For me and
True.
you, all right, cool, because like that's how that. I think the last 2 years of high school, I kind of had fire duty at my parents' house. Like I was in charge of the fire, the furnace stove. So
Hmm.
I know a couple things about fire, but
Yeah,
random Texas guy, I don't think they know a lot about controlled fires in
yeah,
order to stay warm. So yeah, that's some of the things that are on my mind when I'm not home.
yeah. I keep my lipos in a bat safe box inside a lipo bag and put in the oven because I'm paranoid. That's a little farther than I go. Like,
In an oven, not that's yeah, that should be good, right?
I mean, I assume so. My wife
Unless
caught
you
chocolate chip cookies on fire in the oven one time, and we didn't even know till we opened the door. So,
Yeah, actually, I'll keep that in mind next time if I ever go out of town. Like I went out of town for like 2.5 weeks at one time. Dude, I would have stuck my stuff in there. 'Cause I'm the same
my
way.
wife doesn't.
Rifle bag in an ammo can, but in an oven too.
Yeah, my wife doesn't open the oven before she turns it on to preheat. So,
That's yeah. What's that? That'd be a terrible smell, dude. I don't even.
that'd
I
be
don't know.
real bad.
You might have to get rid of the oven.
You might. I'm fairly sure that with the number of batteries I keep in my ammo can, that if that were in the oven, I'm not sure that oven would contain the fire. So like, yeah,
I
that'd
could see
be.
the glass maybe shattering because of heat, but I think it'd be all right. I don't know.
I
Somebody
mean,
test it.
most
Anybody got like a trash oven in their backyard?
yeah, somebody got a shit old oven and a bunch of old lipos they don't care about anymore.
That's literally gonna be any of your neighbors down the street. That's like
Yeah,
the Indiana thing, dude. You have washer and dryer and an oven next to your shed in the backyard.
you're not wrong. I bet I could go to the trailer park across the street before they demolish the trailers and drag a couple out of there. Whether they work or not, who knows? But
That could actually that could
it
be
seems,
probably one of the first videos we put on YouTube in like 2 years. Will just be
yeah,
batteries in an oven.
it seems like a good MythBusters. How many lipos to melt in the oven? Josh just leaves them in his trucks. Yeah, I bet you Josh's Ripper. I bet you Josh's Ripper has a battery in it from not going to Axial Fest last year.
Just don't have a
I'm sure
battery.
I'm sure there's a dryer you could use. Probably, dude. I can't see the trailer park because it's dark outside, but I'll look tomorrow.
Are you saying
I'm
they
not
wear
going
wet
to.
clothes? Checkered, they don't wear wet clothes.
No, I bet there's a clothesline hanging out there where I could use too. I'm not going into that trailer park after dark, so I'll wait till tomorrow. I can see with binoculars across the street.
You'll hear someone
Oh
whisper
man,
from the bushes, "Hey there, sweetie."
yeah, yeah. I am quite looking forward to getting away from this intersection and this. I mean, the trailer park's going to be gone anyway in a couple of months, so it doesn't really matter. But I kind of am looking forward to just purging a bunch of shit that I don't need around here anymore and reorganizing and resetting up a shop because like when I started this shop 8 years ago, like I had no idea I was going to have a freaking 22-foot long CNC lathe. Like nothing was laid out with the plans of having a machine shop inside a motorcycle shop. So like, this big ass lathe is literally in the center of the floor widthwise in my shop, and it's 22 feet long. So like,
It is in the middle.
it is in the middle of the shop. So that you have to work around this big ass stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to reset things where they make more sense now. I put that there because that's where it had to go, not because that's where I wanted it. So now I have a chance to put it where I want it.
Well, you better do it right the first time, because
Because if I fuck it up,
I think you're gonna be moving it. You gotta play it as
No.
a lines, dude.
so I think tomorrow I'm gonna go over there and measure. I'm gonna take some chalk. Yeah, I'm just gonna take some chalk and draw on the floor a bunch of rectangles and really, I'm gonna measure all my workbenches and see, I'm just gonna draw with chalk on the floor. I tried drawing it on a piece of paper, but like it's hard to really get the scale of it till you're standing in there, Yeah, you can look at it on a in CAD, or you can look at it on a piece of paper and just go, yeah, it looks like it's gonna work. But
What
until you actually
what you do, you go on Amazon and then you type in that model and then you do the show in room feature.
Yeah.
Is that on
If
Amazon?
if you could find this on Amazon, it's probably my listing to sell it.
Yeah. Oh, this is 1-star seller. All right, I'm gonna take this risk. Let's go.
Yeah,
View in room.
yeah, for sure.
Size of my living room.
Um,
And it go through the floor. It fall through the floor.
Speaking of purging stuff, my mom is starting to get rid of 30 years of my stepdad collected. That's a lot, man. The U-Haul shop next door to me, they've been in business for 45 years, and they've got, their old folks now. They're not old, but they're older folks now, and they've got little trinkets and knickknacks from the past 45 years of in business that they're trying to pull down off of shelves and go through, and they've got a lot of shit over there they've got to handle as well. He's gonna set up Sorka. He's gonna set up the shop like Sorka, just a bunch of rectangles and illegal tires.
Yeah, I don't want to see anything poking outside the box.
Yeah. Pull a Josh, model it in CAD. It would look just like the Sorka diagrams, though, if I were to do it in CAD, because I don't have the time. But I do have the time to go over there and measure with a big-ass tape measure and a piece of chalk and just draw on the floor. I think I'll probably do that tomorrow evening after work, and just to get a little bit more of a visual idea. Hard park the mill. Yeah, that's just slide it through the door at 60 mile an hour.
Yeah, dude, how fast can that truck go in reverse?
Right.
Would you save? Would you save like $1,000 if they just?
Yeah, just back in and hit the brakes. CAD, do it in Crayon aided drafting. Huge warehouses, giant overhead projectors to shoot the floor plan onto the floor so you can. Oh.
The projector is $3,000. I already looked into it. You're not saving any money. How much is that chalk? You already have. You steal that chalk from your kid.
I will. Yes, it's in a wagon. It's in a wagon in the garage. I walk past it every morning. So
it's got wheels on it already, dude.
Yeah.
Yoink.
It's the big square sidewalk chalks too. So I'll just tape that thing to the broom handle and just. I don't even have to bend down.
He's got the junior contractor chalk.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's 9 o'clock now. It's dark outside. I'm sure it's getting colder out. So, I'm gonna get the heck out of here for tonight. And
somebody come cut these 3 feet of wall. This. Oh man, I ruined that. Dang it! Somebody come take care of this for me. I only need like 3 inches.
You need to order one of those kits. One of those servo wire kits. They come with JST connectors, servo connectors, all the pins. They're like $13 on Amazon. Just search servo connector on Amazon.
I'm going to wait for you to dig through your stuff. You're going to find like 3 of those kits.
I have one kit. And
I knew it, guys.
I thought that it was on this.
He's going to use it one day.
No, I use it all the time. I thought that it was on this table, but I must have put it away the last time I used it.
You guys buying that? I'm not.
Yeah. CAD, do it, worth it. Yeah, I know, but like, then I have to draw the machines, and I don't feel like
they're rectangles.
Yeah. I doubt that Kia will email me a 3D design file of this 2004 machine.
They're like, bro, nothing we made in 2004 is still in use, not even the cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, we do have this machine.
Yeah, right. They can't even find me the right manuals for this machine half the time. I'm lucky I have random manuals that most of it is similar. So.
Boom. 24 hours later, that'll be set.
There you go.
Actually, why didn't you guys tell me I could just design a freaking little thing I bolt down on? I'm gonna do that. I'm not even gluing. Gluing's for the nuts. This ain't 2014.
I use Shoe Goo for everything.
Well, that's what I did, but I'm gonna make
clear grip, Gorilla Clear Grip.
E6 up. I like how we both get the $1 packs.
No, this is the big one.
Oh, that's the big one?
I mean, here's a Coors Banquet next to it.
Well, those are little.
Well, but I mean, they're not, though.
I have a red Shoe Goo thing, and it's huge. This is like little itty bitty. Anyway, I'm not going to compare sizes of...
Mine's bigger.
Cement with you.
Mine's 3 ounces.
You know what? What's that in
88 milliliters. 16 dicks.
118 millimeters. With
Milliliters.
the cap on. Milliliters.
118 with the cap on.
With the cap on.
Mine is longer than the calipers will go.
Hey, there's still 29 people hanging out for this shenanigans. You guys are goons.
We're measuring our glue tubes.
Glue tubes. Oh man. All right.
How many squares is your glue tube,
Yeah.
everybody? Put it in the comments below.
Cubic metrics. God. All right.
Oh man. Anyway, that's a good stopping point for tonight.
I gotta eat. All this glue tubes got me hungry.
Thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.